Alrighty, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you find yourself today. It's about that time again, and I believe that everybody is doing awesome and enjoying the day. As always, you're welcome to analyze this. Um, Today we are going to be talking about the elephant in the room. And I believe every Ghanaian knows the elephant in the room. Um, I will start straight away by saying, as usual, creativity and inventions are not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. Creativity and inventions are not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. So educate your mind, enlighten yourself, and you'll be able to create and invent no matter the color of your skin. Again, on this platform, we don't entertain insult. Um, we welcome diverse opinions and suggestions and ideas. You may not necessarily agree to what we're saying or what we're discussing on this platform. You are at liberty to table your dissenting opinions, and we'll be more than happy to discuss it with you or to judge us so we all learn and better ourselves so we can change our communities. On that note, I want to start by making Prof introduce himself, and then we'll go straight to the discussions. We will be talking about the tragedy, both the helicopter crash and the accident that took the lives of those innocent kids, I believe 15 of them. So, all right, Prof, over to you.
Uh, it is with a heavy heart that we doing this program today because a lot of preventable things have been happening all across the country, and especially the two incidences that happened just last week has been on the radar of every well-meaning Ghanaian. So our condolences goes to the affected families and to the nation at large. And like I always say, the society we want to live in tomorrow is the society we build today. Incidentally, we were talking about these things just last week. And our lack of priorities, our inability to plug the holes in our national coffers and allowing people just to enrich themselves and then actually pardoning them. I don't even know what to say because a lot of the things that are taking the lives of people are preventable. There is nowhere on planet Earth that accidents do not happen. Accidents happen everywhere, but with what consistency? What are we putting in place to make sure that what we just said do not happen again? I remember when we were discussing these accidents last week, we even talked about the heap of sand that took the life of one of our most prominent young enterprising musicians. And
Anthony.
months after the fact, the we had not removed that hazard from our roots. So sometimes it is hard to talk about these things, but we have to. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Prof. So I'm going to start off this way. My introduction is going to be a bit funny, but our condolences again. Last week, I believe we sent out our condolences to the kids, the family of the kids who lost their lives in somewhere in the Ashanti region, the 15 kids who all died in an accident. Very tragic, very tragic. And I don't see why, as a nation, we cannot be angry enough, like Prof said, to prevent some of these preventable accidents. Our condolences this week also goes out to the families of the eight um, um, public servants who passed away during the helicopter um, crash. It's rather unfortunate, and I must say that I'm kind of delighted that people are not playing politics as usual with what is going on. And I will say something to that effect. But I want to start off by saying these prophecies, these so-called prophets, look here. I listened to one, I believe the name is Prophet Roger. Usually we don't mention names on this platform, but I'm mentioning his name for a reason. Speaking with that sense of arrogance and talking about the fact that prophets should be given the opportunity to operate in our national discourse, and we're going to see the progress. Look, whoever you are, Prophet Roger, we don't build nations on prophecies. Nations are not built on prophecies. If anybody knows him, send this message to him. Nations are built on intellectual capacity. You see, sometimes we make mockery of this whole religious thing. God has given us what it takes to build our nations. He doesn't come in every day to tell us what to do. That is why he has given us a spirit. This whole life is a process. It's just like a seed. God has deposited every little thing we need to develop our nations, to develop our environment, to develop our communities. He has deposited all of them in us. Sometimes we have premonitions, I get it. Don't come and tell me that saith the Lord or God revealed something to you. And the most annoying part is when they tell you, oh, I don't know how to reach him. But God was able to reveal the thing to you and could not reveal the phone number or how to reach the person to you. It blows my mind. If God was able to reveal the deep secrets of what is going to happen to you, and he did not reveal the phone number, just a simple phone number to you, I have seen prophets who have been revealed, phone numbers have been revealed to. I have seen it myself. And yet they don't talk. They don't make all that noise. It does not mean I don't believe in prophecies or I don't believe in the spiritual. But what I'm saying is, and I can say this with every ounce of my blood, that no nation is built on prophecies. If we are going to rely on prophecies, then we don't need our intellectual. You think God is stupid by giving us all this intellect? If he knew that he was every day going to tell us what to do, how to build our nations, how to do stuff, then what is the sense of giving us the intellect? So please, let's think. Let's think about how we can navigate through some of these tragic moments. Let those who've lost their lives, their loved ones, be consoled. in a very serene environment and stop the pollution in the environment. The noise pollution irritates me. The next thing anything happens, anything tragic happens in the nation, there comes a prophet, there comes a so-called soothsayer, there comes whatever predicting. I saw this. You saw it and you could not prevent it. So please give us a break. We don't want to hear all that. All the so-called prophets who would take every opportunity to sell themselves and advertise themselves at the expense of the pain of the nation. If you really know how to develop a nation, develop your communities, go and develop your village where you come from, because they believe you are a man of God and you have the anointing, you have the spirit of prophecy or whatever they call it. So go and develop that place and leave the nation in peace. All right. On that note, I want to jump to my first observation of this whole. I want to talk about the helicopter accident first. I don't want to talk about the causes and what have you. We'll have to wait for the investigations to be done before, because I hear some so-called experts trying to interject and throw the ideas and what have you out there. It's because of X, it's because of Z, it's because of Y. And you listen to the true experts, they will tell you, I'm not going to make any comment until the findings are out. Because you cannot jump to conclusions. As of now, what we are all doing is speculation. So that aspect, I'm not going to go there. I don't know if Prof will go there. I don't know about that, but he's entitled to what he wants to do. But that aspect, I'm not going to go there. But this is what I'm going to say. The first thing I realized, I believe on this platform, we spoke about the fact that the National Civic Education, is it Civic Education Organization or whatever that institution is supposed to be educating people on crime scenes, how to handle crime scenes and accident scenes. You see, investigation has to be conducted anytime something happens. So when you go there and you start collecting stuff, or you start, and you could see through the interviews I watched, it's out of the ignorance of the people. And what also hurt me was the journalist who was doing the interview did not have the uh, to at least take that opportunity to educate the person. Don't do that. We don't do that when you chance on an accident scene. Don't do that. All you need to do is to call for help, especially if you're not a professional. And the journalist was also listening to the story without it taking the moment to seizing the moment to educate the whole village or the person speaking to him. And he let that opportunity slip by. So please, when there's an accident, you have to wait for professionals to show up. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to watch, but you have to wait for professionals to show up. I know sometimes they don't show up on time. If there's life to be saved and you are doing something to save that life. In our situation, because sometimes you call the ambulance and it takes forever to get there. So in that sense, if you have to save a life, let's even that. I don't even want to jump and say let's do that, but that's different. But where you realize there's no life to be saved, and yet you go there and you mess up the crime scene or the accident scene. People are picking up watches, picking up stuff, parts of the helicopter. It really does not help with the investigation because they have to find out what actually happened. So that can be used to prevent subsequent happenings. So please, I think it's NCCA, right? Start
Yeah.
educating the people, please. And the journalists, please. Let's educate the people. Don't mess up with the accidents. And it's funny, even when professionals showed up, I don't want to say professionals in quotes, because what they did was not up to standard. They were still observing people taking pictures, people walking around and going back and forth at the scene. And I was like, what's going on? When there is a crime scene or an accident scene where investigation needs to be conducted, the whole place needs to be corded off from the general public. The only people who are allowed there are people who have something to do to help with the investigation. I don't see even the people who showed up, the professionals picking up stuff and putting them in bags, wearing. I didn't see all of that going on. And the most painful part for me was how they sacked these people, the remains of these people, how they sacked them. I mean, putting them in sacks and carrying them like a sack of cassava or maize. Where are the body bags? Where are the body bags? Don't we have body bags? I was ripping my hair off when I saw excerpts of the scene, even with the professionals. Come on, we can do better. This is an eyesore. That's all I can say. This is an eyesore. We can do better. And please, when there is a crime scene or an accident scene, do not go there. Look, you can even be implicated in a serious country or in a serious community. You can be implicated because when you touch something, your fingerprints are going to show. I know sometimes people want to help, but the correct thing in a very sane environment, let me say that, in a sane environment, let's say if there's an accident in somewhere in, let's say, Virginia, okay, and the professionals show up, they would only call on, even amongst them, not everybody goes in there to touch anything. It is the forensic experts who go in there to touch stuff. If they need help, they will call on their people to help with something. So not just anybody going in there, touching stuff, picking it, or trying to help. No, you don't do that. You make the investigation very difficult and protracted. And I know Ghanaians will be, oh, it's been 6 months since this happened and we don't hear anything. Yes, because you messed up the investigation for them. So it's hard for them to put the pieces together. So please, when you chance on any accident scene, again, if there is no life to save, don't rush in there to touch anything. Don't rush in there to touch anything. Let's wait for the professionals. And sometimes I kind of understand the emotions of the people, like I said, in a sane environment when there's an accident. Because I was even thinking when they said the black box, the radar, they could, the helicopter got lost on the radar within that time. Couldn't they have sent another helicopter? Because as of that time, they could tell exactly how far the helicopter has traveled, knowing where the helicopter was going. They could have sent another helicopter to go hover around that place immediately. They could have even responded before the villagers gotten there if we were serious and we're living in a very sane environment. So please, our professionals, let's be professionals. Let's be professionals. If some money is needed to, if we are serious, again, back to Prof's statement, what kind of society do we want to build? If we are serious in building our society, let us make sure we put money into areas where money is needed to advance the cause of our society. Because what happened to me was a whole big joke. A whole big joke. And that was even when I realized we cannot even do our own forensic. So we had to take them to South Africa.
Hmm.
It's mind-blowing, Mother Ghana. This is mind-blowing. We need to do better. All right, Prof.
Nana, there are a lot of things that you've already said, but they beg repeating. Whenever we are doing this particular discussion, I always say something. It is not for the sake of repetitiveness. I am going to say it again. When in doubt, go back to our idioms and the wise sayings that our elders have left for us. It is a microcosm of the way we lived our lives for centuries. And they are distilled for us to learn from and to live for the future generations. Our elders say, Ucha oketremawi. And now ucha wonsaria, unwe nambia. To wait. If you cut your own tongue, cook it and eat it up, you haven't eaten anything. The reason why I'm saying this is this. Every year, without fail, the Auditor General brings out the amount of money that is seeping out of Ghana every year. And the day we did our show on corruption in Africa, we found out that African outflows due to corruption is about many times the amount of money that we get in from foreign aid and foreign capital inflows and all that. So money that is seeping out of Africa is much more than what other people bring to us due to corruption. We are here decrying the fact that another helicopter was not sent to the rescue. With my ears on the ground, people are saying is that if the roads have been good and in inclement weather, there was no way these ministers would have been in the air. Successive governments have failed to develop our nations, not just Ghana. I'm talking about the whole continent. Successive governments have failed, and they are the gatekeepers. They are the people with leverage. They are the ones that are the shepherds. And they are the only people who can actually effect the change that we require. Now, their inability to make those changes, I'm not making an accusation. I am talking about the general atmosphere in Ghana today. Their inability to take care of the society which has been entrusted to them as leadership is what has resulted in this.
So I'm not going to repeat your observations. I'm going to add a few more. Personally, after I saw the burnt remains and how people were going around and all these other stuff, I specifically avoided anything that was related to the death of our leaders. Because instead of giving me more sympathy, it was actually pissing me off, making me angry. The way we are treating people who have dedicated their lives to the service of their own country, the way we were treating them. So I stopped watching. But then I went online to gauge the sentiment of Ghanaians. I can assure you it is split 50-50. There are people who are very happy this is happening. There is one particular lady who said that 20 years ago, she wanted to go to St. Louis Senior High School, which is in Kumasi. The mother forbade her on the basis that the Accra Kumasi road is a dangerous route, and that under no circumstances is she allowing her daughter to travel to Kumasi consistently on that road. And the lady is asking, 20 years after the fact, this road is a death trap. It's not just dangerous, it is a death trap. Now we just did this episode on accidents, and the accidents in the Ashanti region, where do you think they are occurring? So what kind of society are we building? And what is our concept of who should build the society that we want for us? Because apparently, we think somebody is going to come out of space and build Ghana or build Nigeria or build Kenya for us.
Or maybe we need a prophetic word.
You put that one aside for even today. I don't even want to go there. But 20 years after the fact, this lady pointed out that if the road had been good, they have the benefit of bigger SUVs given to them by the state, fueled by the state, and a convoy with sirens in front of them. If the roads were good, they would have been on the road instead of in the air, in inclement weather. So who do you blame when this happens? There was this guy who came online and said, when you people are coming to Kumasi or anywhere else in the country, most often than not, you fly. And then you send somebody's son to be your driver and drive your SUV on the dangerous road you don't want to travel on. So that when you get to your destination, you have access to the town or the area that you want to visit. You fly. It's easier for you. Now that the air is also dangerous, where are you going to pass? So amid the mourning and the crying, the people are gradually waking up. The people are saying, if you don't take care of us, these things are going to happen to you. Because every day that other people's kids die, we don't even hear from you. When we complain about our roads, we don't hear from you. We complain about our water, we don't hear from you. We complain about our electricity. The electricity on and off have burnt so many people alive in Ghana. We don't hear from you. Now that you are dead, maybe you will hear from yourselves. And this is not my personal sentiment. These are sentiments that are going on in Ghana today. And I will be a liar if I tell you I disagree with them. I don't. Because these things are preventable. There are a few people in the military who are saying that they knew these helicopters are not up to par, that they are not taken care of maintenance-wise. We've complained about the maintenance culture of us as a people. We don't put these things where they are supposed to be. We leave them at the mercy of the weather. We don't have proper professionals taking care of these aircrafts, and then we want to fly them when the situation demands. All these monies that we are stealing through corruption, if we could even cut out 50% of the corruption, I believe that we could have done something about some of these things. And before I end, let me say that there is no society on planet Earth where accidents don't happen. I've said that again and again. There is no perfect society on planet Earth. As human beings, we are a fallen race. We are a fallen race. Everybody should understand that. But there is a very big difference between progressive societies and retarded societies. Progressive societies, they see things, they see the consistency of those things, and they put barriers in place to avoid repetitive actions. That's what progressive societies do. And incrementally, they get better. They don't get better overnight. Incrementally, they get better. And that's why I keep saying, what kind of society are we trying to build? And for those people who don't care what is happening to our leaders because they themselves have suffered the consequence of the bad governance over the years, I'm saying that channel your anger through proper means. And what is the proper means? Somebody also came, when we go on strike, you don't listen to us. When we complain, you push it aside. When we do this, you don't respond. Maybe now you respond because your own people are suffering. I don't know if you saw the video that somebody sent from between Nsawam to Accra. The road that they are constructing has been left like that for the whole year. There is nobody on site doing the work.
I think I forwarded it to you this morning. I don't know.
Okay, probably. Yeah. And the government has not come to say anything about it. I know that the previous government put a lot of holes everywhere and left it. But governance is continuity. So please, I'm begging this government. The people of Ghana voted for you because they believe you are the right people to do this job. Go ahead. When you have not actually done the work, explain to the people why this is so. From Accra to Kumasi now takes 8 hours. That's why they were in the air. 8 hours to go from Accra to Kumasi, a journey that should take you at most 3 hours. So we don't even understand the value of man hours. We don't. Because if we did understand the value of, if we were being paid according to an hour, nobody would sit 8 hours in traffic. Nobody sits in one vehicle for 8 hours when within 3 hours you should be there. So, hey, Nana, what do I say? Our condolences go to the affected families, especially to the cabinet ministers. And I heard that Dr. Omane Boama is an only child. And the mother is alive. And when you are talking about this aspect, I'm also going to ask our so-called journalists. Is it because that today anybody can pick up a mic and say he's a journalist? But for those that come from reputable news houses, I am very, very disappointed. What is the point of asking a bereaved mother, how do you feel? on the very day that her only son is dead? What is the point of asking people who have lost all their children? How do you feel? Really? In the heat of the moment, that is the kind of reporting you want to be doing? And to the journalist that was interviewing the thief who stole from the dead, next time tell people the truth. Because I know you went to journalism school. There is no way you are going to come from one of the media houses without being trained on ethics. And for the guy to say, oh, this is what I got. You stole it. It's not yours. Culturally, you go anywhere and you find something that is not yours, you take it to the chief's house or to the elders of the family. If people are forgetting where they come from, you should remind them that I only got this watch. And somebody say, oh, you are disappointed it was only a watch you got. What were you planning to take? What were you? And people are taking the scraps of the helicopter to go and sell. Nana, thank you for using the word sane, the phrase sane society, because it beats my imagination how some people could just go there and start pillaging. It beats my imagination. Even if you have no sympathy, you should have respect for the dead. That's what we were taught when we were growing up. They had no respect for the dead. And to our people, our so-called professionals, body bags, forensics, treating our national heroes with some dignity. Let me repeat. Because I will want to speculate that if they had the body bags, they wouldn't have used the sacks. If we had expert forensics in Ghana, we wouldn't be sending the bodies to South. It costs more to send these bodies to South Africa than to actually train and equip our own forensic teams. You are sending it to South Africa. You have to preserve the body, send it to South Africa, let them work on it, pay them, bring the bodies back, pay for the transportation again. Are we stupid? Are we stupid? Are we that dumb that we are cutting off our tongues to eat? And remember, the day we did this case on the accidents, the rampant accidents that is happening in our country, we said that the Department of Civic Education, or whatever they are called, they have come out to actually complain repeatedly that they do not have the funding they need. So I am not going to blame them. They said this during the last cycle of elections. They said for about 15, 20 years, they are not giving the resources to even educate the people on their rights and their responsibilities as citizens when it comes to elections. They are not giving the money. But we have money for other people to come and steal. And if they bring 60%, we don't even prosecute them. So, yeah, I do agree with the people who are angry because they see all these things going on and they have become impervious to the pain of our elite politicians. And I will say that it is the politics of our nation that is causing a lot of people to become unconcerned. They do not care. And some people are actively praying that a lot more of these things should happen to our leaders so they can start thinking about the general populace and not just about themselves. They constitute less than 5% of the population. And the resources that are being thrown at them, or the resources they themselves are taking is just staggering. So I don't know what else to say. But people are actually waking up. And if these people wake up angry, it is not good for our country. We would rather that they wake up engaged to see that what we as a society can come together to achieve, not what they waking up and having this notion that each one is for himself. That is not what I'm looking forward to. But as at this point, those that are awakened, they are awakened to the fact that nobody cares about them. So they shouldn't care about anybody. And that's a trajectory that we should stop in this track. Thank you.
Trajectory we should start in its track. Thanks, Prof. Again, the media, if you have lost sight of your mandate, you are one of the gateways to education. You are one of the gateways as far as education is concerned. So please, please sit up, and rise up to the occasion. Because I am getting disappointed in the media day in and day out. Go back to your core mandate. You being the fourth estate, you have a bigger role to play than what you're doing. One, it's been politicized. The media has been politicized. Two, the media is getting ignorant. They're not even equipped themselves. And I'm talking about every Tom, Dick, and Harry that I have seen. And I keep asking, where are the Kwekusechiados? Where are the Kwekusechiados? The Kwekubakos. You know, what's his name? Is it Kofi Kumsin? You know, we need to go back to the days where the media knows what it's about, where the media is well equipped. Look, the story of Kukubako is one that inspires me so much. This is somebody who did not get higher formal education or schooling. Let me put it that way. But this man has been able to educate himself. He's one of the highly educated journalists in Africa. And yet he did not get a higher form of schooling. You know, he personally improved on himself. That is what we call education. That's why I always try to draw the distinction between education and schooling. There are people who've been to school and yet are not educated. And there are people who've not been to school and are highly educated because they've enlightened their minds. So the media needs to learn. The Ghana media needs to learn, because what we are doing is appalling. I'm going to end here on the media, and I'm going to come back again. I'm not going to stop hating on the media because I'm proud of the media. So I want us to get it right. And then, Prof, you made mention of the sentiments of the people, the anger, which who am I? Who am I to say their sentiments are wrong? You know, when you live in a system where, and we're not even talking about one political party, we're talking about both, or yeah, it's basically within the Fourth Republic. It's basically
the whole
NPP
spectrum
or
of
NDC.
the whole spectrum of leadership.
You know,
Not just the politicians.
Yep. this group comes in for let's say 8 years and still, come on, man. 32 years of sustenance, sustaining our democracy, and we still don't have good roads. I mean, this blows my. That is, if you're talking about development, that is it should be a priority. Our transportation system should be utmost priority. Railways. We don't even have a connecting railway from the south to the north. After 30 something years
in the age of bullet trains, we don't even have.
Sometimes you think about it and are we really using our brains? You know, I know it's lack of leadership. I know. But it's getting ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous. I mean, if the video you were talking about, the stretch, that little stretch between Accra and someone, that, oh Jesus Christ, I saw the video and I was so pissed off.
In any sane society, Nana, they would have taken the gravel or the asphalt off one side, fix that side, then come to the other side. You take the asphalt off on the whole stretch and just leave it.
Even if let's assume that you're taking the asphalt off all the stretch. Keep working. It's been how many years? Over 4 years. Over 4 years.
Because the money for the project is in somebody's pocket.
And this is a major road. It's not a minor road. This is a major road.
Nana, that's the most important trunk road in the whole country. Accra to Kumasi.
This is a major road. You know, so please, politicians, those holding political power, political offices in Ghana, please, we beg of you, transportation should be a priority. For me, I always tell people, health, transport, education. These three should be the topmost priority of every politician or anybody who comes to look. Next week we're going to be doing something we don't really do on this platform. I'll talk to you behind the scenes, and you can chip in your wisdom to see how we go about it. We're going to be very political. We're going to be tearing apart some of these political antics and dishonesty within certain political parties. I'm going to be specific, the NPP. And when the NDC's turn comes, we'll do that as well, because they have the presidential race to do now. As of now, we don't have that of the NDC, so we don't know who is contesting and who is not contesting. So we'll talk about that in the background. But it's so appalling that we keep on selecting leaders who don't have their priorities right in both sides of the divide. You know, we had 8 years of Akufo-Addo's regime. I mean, these roads shouldn't be left this way. Before then, we've had 8 years of NDC's regime. These roads should be done. We should have one of the best hospitals, one of the best road net or transportation networks, one of the best schools. Within this time, we talk about 19 years of Rollins, 8 years of NDC, 8 years of NPP, and we're still struggling with the basics. And the issue is not lack of funds. The issue is lack of leadership. And I want to repeat this. The issue facing Ghana and Africa is not lack of funds. It is lack of leadership. Leadership creates, leadership thinks, leadership acts. Leadership is progressive. Lately, I saw the Minister of Roads and Highways complaining about why certain roads are not done. That is not my business. I don't want to know. Do your work. Stop complaining. Do your work. That is why you were voted into power. That is why you've been given the mandate to fix problems, not to tell us why the problems persist. And that stop complaining. Leadership does not complain. Leadership goes to work. So I can understand it's lack of leadership on both sides of the divide. But my last statement before I drop the mic, oh, time is fighting against us, is the so-called foot soldiers. I said this on GH page this week. The so-called foot soldiers. I hope you are taking a clue from what's going on. I hope you are watching. I hope you got your eyes wide open and watching the politicians. You realize there is a united front when a politician dies, be it MPP or NDC. You don't even, at this point, you can't even tell who belongs. There was an NPP, I think former NP of Tema East. Oh man, I've forgotten this guy's name, who was whipping on TV. An NP, former NP, whipping on TV. When the opponent politician is dead. I saw the same too from the other side when the Akwatia guy died from the NDC side. So the so-called foot soldiers, this is my message to you. Be observant. The politicians, when they die, they unify, they unite, they solidarize with each other. When a foot soldier dies, do you see that same unity? That should tell you something. It tells you that you are just a tool they are using and that they don't value your life. When a foot soldier dies, it's argument. NDC did this, MPP did this, NDC did that, MPP did that. When a politician dies, let us unite and be non-partisan and solidarize with each other. So that should tell you something. You are being used and being dumped. That is my final statement. Prof, final statement before we close the curtains.
Nana, I want to reiterate the fact that nobody is coming from anywhere to build our society for us. And it is high time we open our eyes and understand that we are on our own and that we are capable and that there is enough resources within our confines to actually build our society if we hold our leaders accountable. You see, people are complaining about the fact that when these children died, there was no concerted national mourning, and especially no serious effort from our leadership to console even the bereaved families. I agree with them. What I would like to see is that why did these children die? And then the whole nation move forward to avert another tragedy like this. We should not always be reactionary. We should be preventative when it comes to certain things that we have the ability to forestall. For instance, the only reason why these children died is because the roads are bad and that it is one way. Okay.
The accident, let's put aside these 16 or 15 children that died. Let's put them aside. From January to July, the amount of people who died on our roads, we all know. And we also know that the reason why they are dead mostly is because of head-on collision, because our highways actually pass each other. The one going east and the one going west are the same road. They are not separated by any barricade or by any median. And that's why we are dying. So you take the amount of people who have died, value their lives, and build a better system that prevents this particular kind of accident, head-on collisions. That is where I want to see our society go. I want to see our society getting the statistics, looking at the statistics and say, this is not right. The amount of money we are like that is seeping out of our coffers can be. I mean, the Auditor General said that the amount of money that was lost just last year can build how many? 26 of the interchanges in what's the name of that place? After Amasam and the interchange, the Pokwasi interchange. Millions of dollars they can't account for. And our people keep dying. I sent you a video in which a teacher who was complaining about the roads, the next day he went on the road and he died. It is high time that instead of just venting our anger on social media, we should approach every election and every leadership position with that same anger. And let them know that if you don't care about us, you should care about yourself. Because you live in this society too. And the last thing I am going to say is this. Let us incentivize leadership to do the right thing. I complain about the fact that our leaders can get on a plane and go to South Africa or go to Europe for medical treatment at the expense of the ordinary person. But then the ordinary person dies of malaria because there are no materials in Ghana for malaria. So why don't we incentivize the leader to do the right thing? You can't go anywhere for medical treatment. You have to be treated in Ghana. So make sure the systems in Ghana work so that you can take advantage of it. If we had expert forensics in Ghana, why are we sending the bodies to South Africa? Why? Why are we sending the bodies to South Africa? So I'm going to reiterate. If you cut your thumb or your hands and you eat it, you haven't eaten anything. You're just stupid. And that's what we are doing. Thank you, Nana.
Alrighty. On this note, would like to draw the curtains on today's Analyze This. Next week, same time, we'll be here. And like I said, we're going to be doing certain drastic stuff we don't usually do on this platform because we are going to influence, let me put it that way, influence the elections of leaders in Ghana, so we can get better people to lead the nation. We can get thinkers who would think through issues and would know how to set their priorities right and know what to do. Because we can't continue with this all right, we can't continue with this ignorance in the highest office of the land. Almost all the offices, we see ignorance playing out. We can't continue like that. We need to build a sane society. We need to build a sane society. And so we are going to be doing certain things, some drastic stuff on this platform moving forward. On that note, would want to close the curtains on today's Analyze This. My name is Nana Osei Bonsu, Jr. of Africa International Organization and Certo Leadership International, and my co-host. Alrighty, so see you next week, same time on the flip side. Have a wonderful rest of